Today, I'm going to be chatting with you guys about planner sizes, paper GSM, and maybe even touching on a few of the different layouts. So this video is what I like to call Planning 101. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Tracy and I am a girl with plans. So yes, today is going to be kind of a FAQ type video where I'm going to go through a lot of different things that maybe planner newbies or those newish to planning may have just regarding the different types of planners, sometimes the different lingo that's used, etc., etc. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to cover everything in here, and there are things that I don't even know whether or not to cover because there's just so many questions. But I'm going to cover a few that come to mind when I think of what confused me when I first started planning. So let's go ahead and get this video underway because it's probably going to be fairly long. The first thing I'm going to talk about is sizes of planners. So planner sizes. There are several different planner sizes. You see I have journals, planners, disc bound, everything in between here in front of me. What complicates things about planner sizing is that different companies will also call the same size by different names. Kind of think coffee and Starbucks. Starbucks has their names of their coffee sizes, the venti, the grande, everything like that. But then other places just call it small, medium, and large. So the same thing in the planner community. So first I'm going to chat a little bit about Happy Planner because a lot of times when you're looking at like planning accessories, specifically like if you want to get filler paper or covers, sometimes they will use the Happy Planner size terminology to say what that size is. So that's what I'm going to kind of talk to you guys about today. So I have three of the popular Happy Planner sizes here. These are the very common sizes right here. I'm going to go over the dimensions with you, but I'm going to also I want it to kind of give you a visual of the size difference. So the first thing we are going to talk about though is this one. This is a letter size planner. I do want to start off by saying when I'm speaking about sizes, it is the actual paper size. So it's not the cover size, it's the paper size. Generally, the cover is going to be a little bit bigger to protect the paper and the tabs that are inside. So the cover size is going to be larger than the actual dimensions I'm giving you guys. But this is a letter size planner. A letter size because the paper in here is your general size of regular letter paper, which is 8.5 by 11. For in the Happy Planner world, they call this the Happy Planner Big. So this is your big Happy Planner, your standard letter size planner. For the Happy Planner, another way that you can distinguish it pretty quickly by photo, like if you're looking at it online, is it has 11 discs here in it. What I will say, a lot of different companies do have disc size planners. Now like Happy Planner has it. You have Keleva Plain uses disc, Live Love Posh, Plum Paper has disc options. Even Hemlock and Oak has a disc option. So there's like a lot of companies that either sell things already as disc or have like disc punch paper that you can purchase as an option. Even if it's like a little bit different in sizes, if it is an 11 disc punch, or as you'll see the other sizes, the disc, the dimensions between the disc or the space between the discs is going to be the same. Even if the paper is a little bit shorter or a little bit more narrow, if it's 11 discs, the punches are still going to be the same distance apart. So you can still use that paper interchangeably, mix it in and everything like that. That'll make more sense when I get to the other sizes, but I just kind of wanted to bring that up. So that is your letter size planner. And just while we're chatting about it, I'm not going to measure all of the covers, but just to kind of give you guys a quick idea of how much bigger the cover is. So like I said, this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet paper as a letter size. This cover, now I'm going all the way to the edge where the plastic is because that is like the space. It's 9.25. So that already is 3/4 larger than the paper. And then this is 11.5. So that's a 1/2 inch longer. So 3/4 wider, a 1/2 inch longer, which makes sense because you need to protect the tabs. So that's why it's longer in width. Okay, the next popular size, this size is very common with a lot of planners, give or take a few centimeters, is the Happy Planner Classic. Now, the Happy Planner Classic, this is how it compares. I'm trying to line it up and I keep hitting it and moving it. This is how it compares to the big Happy Planner. You can see the space around the side. So it is a decent amount smaller. The dimensions on this is 7 by 9.25. Again, those are Happy Planner dimensions, and that is your paper dimensions and not your cover dimensions, but it is 9.25. And it has your 9 discs. So as opposed to 11, you have 9 discs. Now, 9 by 7 is a very, very popular size. Again, this is 9.25 by 7, but 9 by 7 or 7 by 9 is a very, very popular size. However, a lot of planners aren't exactly the 7 by 9. For instance, Erin Condren is a little less than 9. It's like 8 3/4 or something like that. Go Getter Girl is also a planner that I use where the size of the paper is also a lot smaller. I have this on the side. So let me pull out something. Let's pull out a piece of paper. Just for comparison purposes. So you can see how much shorter it is. The length is pretty much the same. With the Erin Condren, the length will be the same, but like the width is a little smaller. So like if I pop this on the disc, you can see how the measurements are a little different, but it still fits on the disc. But you can see the difference here from there to there of how much shorter it is. But you can still frankenplan, put stuff together as long as you aren't bothered by the fact that some of the paper might be a little bit shorter. Because again, a lot of these are also, they're just 9-inch punches and they'll fit on 9-inch discs. But yeah, that's the one thing to think about is some of your other planners that are very close to the classic size are going to be a little bit smaller than that 7 by 9.25 that Happy Planner has. So if you are trying to combine multiple planners on one or mix some of the pages, you are going to get a little bit of a difference there. All right, so we have the big, the classic. So then that leaves us with the mini. The mini. Let's flip it around the right way. So I have a little cheat sheet off to the side because I know the dimensions of the first two. The mini, I just know it's a mini. So the mini is 4.5 by 7. All of these are inches. I apologize to all of my international folks, but that's just how a lot of the dimensions are here in the US. So yeah, so it's 4.5 by 7. So you can see how much smaller it is from the classic and obviously how much smaller it is than the big. So yeah, the mini has 7 discs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So again, we got 11, 9, and 7. So that is what it looks like. I'll get to later what is kind of close to these sizes. So now this is the Happy Planner sizes. There is a skinny mini. There's a skinny classic as well that the Happy Planner has. I will say the skinny mini and the skinny classic is a little bit skinnier. Like the skinny mini is skinnier than the mini, but it's a little bit bigger than half. That makes sense. The same thing with the classic. So it's not actually like cut in half. It's a little bit wider to give you a little bit more paper space. But yeah. All right. So those are those 3 sizes. Now I'm going to keep some of these out because we still need them for comparisons. So there's actually a size that goes in between the Happy Planner Classic and the Happy Planner Mini, but it is not a Happy Planner size. It is a size that you will find with a lot of other planner and notebook companies. And that is the half letter junior as well as an A5. The half letter junior, half letter or junior, they're kind of used like one company might say half letter, another company might say junior. They are the same size. However, it is not the same size as an A5. I've actually seen where some companies have used that interchangeably, and that is incorrect. I will show you why in a minute. I have a pen test page I can use to show you the difference with that. All right, so this is a junior size disc-bound system. This has 8 discs. So again, you can see the difference between the classic and this. And then you can see the difference between the mini and this. Now, this particular notebook I have in front of me is a tool notebook. The tool notebook I got from Office Max. You can also get it from online, everything like that. A lot of companies, like I said, do sell half letter inserts, half letter covers, things like that. A5 disc bound system are probably not going to be as popular as a junior or a half letter. Half letter, I do want to mention as well, is half a letter size. So like this, it's half if you measure the paper, not the cover. It's going to be half the size of this, or half the size of that. You get what I'm saying. So that's where it's half letter junior. So the A5 versus the junior, I do want to go through this. Okay, so the junior is 5.5 by 8.5. So that's why it's pretty close in size as far as how tall it is to a classic, because it is 8. So it's an inch shorter. So 5.5, so 1.5 inches more narrow, but then like 1.25 inches shorter than the Happy Planner Classic, or by your 7x9, it's an inch and an inch shorter. All right, so we're going to now chat about the A5. A5, I'm going to put the A5 paper in here. This is way too full. I shouldn't have put all this paper in this one, but I don't have anywhere to house it, and I'd rather keep it in here so it doesn't get bent. All right, can you see that, guys? You should be able to see it because the paper is 2 different colors. There is the difference between the A5 and the half letter or / junior size. You can see it is wider, a good amount wider. And then if I flip it, you can see it is shorter. But you can see it fits on the rings, and this is a junior size cover, and it fits fine in the cover. So you can use, again, the cover interchangeably. You can mix A5 with the junior. The only thing is, hang on, another thing. These are dividers for the junior. If I put this divider in here, the tab is going to be covered by the A5 paper. So that's the only thing. If you were trying to mix the A5 with junior paper, this will cover if you have junior tabs. So you really do need A5 tabs. If you do that, a lot of people aren't going to do that because, like I said, the junior half letter is going to be your more popular option over the A5. But yeah, so you can see the difference. So the A5 is 5.83 by 8.27. So you can kind of say 5.8 by 8.3. So you have, it is 0.3 inches wider and 0.2 inches shorter, if you're trying to be exact. But the width is going to be extended all on one side, whereas the length was kind of divided between the top and the bottom because of where the punches are. Another thing I kind of do want to mention really quick, I know we're talking about sizes, but the punches, a lot of companies will have punches that are a little more like closer to the edge than the Happy Planner. The Happy Planner has like a long narrow mushroom punch, and a lot of them have these short little fat mushroom punches. They'll all still fit on the disc, and they all still turn the same, so you really can't notice the difference once it's on the actual disc. The Happy Planner punch is actually more unique. This is kind of what I'm seeing a lot with different types of planners that are disc punch. This is like the tool system has this type of punch. This is Live Love Posh paper. I believe it's more similar to the Levenger punch system. So I did want to kind of bring that up, but just because the punch is shorter and fatter than the Happy Planner's long and narrow, it still works fine. In here, you can't really tell a difference, like when you're turning the page, that they're different size punches. Because again, the distance between is the same, and that is what impacts it the most. All right, so we did A5, we did half letter, all of this. So here's everything on top of one another. Big, classic, junior, mini. Ta-da. All right, so those are when we're talking about planners, like Happy Planner, disc-bound planners, those are kind of your sizes. When you start getting into other planners or journals, you hear a whole different lingo when it comes to sizes. I will say the lingo that is used for a lot of juniors and planners and things like that, journals and planners and things like that are going to be kind of, I guess they really are true measurement sizes, because on my printer, I have a B5. I have an A5 setting to print things, to change the paper size. So I think these are definitely a little bit more standard when it comes to sizes. Now, obviously, when it comes to journals, this terminology is going to be like sound very familiar, but a lot of planners also use the same terminology. What I have in front of me is a B5. B5 is going to be the second largest. The largest is still a letter size. The letter size is going to be the same size as I talked about with the Happy Planner. You're going to have the same size with the journal, and there are letter size journals. This is a B5. B5 is a little bit bigger or longer than a classic size and just a tiny bit more narrow than the classic size. So when you come to the B5, it is 7.2 by 10.1. That actually sounds like the paper might be a little bit wider if it's 9.25 by 7. But it doesn't look like that way. So I might have to check that actual dimension, because 7.2, I don't know. It seems like the paper is a little bit narrow than the B5. Let's see. Let's test this. Actually, no. It's the cover again. So your B5 is bigger all the way around than your classic. See what I'm seeing? The cover is very, very deceiving. The actual paper is smaller. So your B5, even though right now it looks like it is more narrow than a classic, it is just a tad bit wider than the classic paper itself. It is, like I said, 7.2 in width compared to the 7 with the classic, and then it's 10.1 in length. So this is the closest that you will have if you want to buy a journal or a bound planner. Your B5 is going to be the one that is closest to the classic size. Then the next one is your A5. So we have the B5 and now we have the A5. A5 is a very, very popular size. You just saw the A5 paper I showed you in comparison to the junior, but this is an A5 journal in comparison to a B5 journal. It's just easier when it's all bound and not on disc. So again, as a reminder, the A5 is roughly 5.8 by 8.3. Again, it's really 5.83 by 8.27, but we all like the little rounding. But yeah, that is the size of that one. Now, when it comes to A5s, B5s, B6s, the higher the number, the smaller the planner. So B5, A5, B6. Got that? Clear as mud? So yeah, the B6 is smaller than the B5 and the A5. So like I said, the larger the number, the smaller the dimensions. Yeah. So the B6 is 4.9 by 6.9. Look, y'all, it's pretty darn close to a mini Happy Planner paper. You can see it's just a tad bit wider and pretty spot on when it comes to the height. Like literally not even a quarter. The paper actually might be pretty darn close. So, like I said, the B6 is 4.9 by 6.9. So you compare that to the mini, which is 4.5. So 4.5 compared to 4.9, and then 6.9 compared to 7. So yeah, 0.1. I was pretty close. So 0.1 difference in the height. But you do have a bigger difference in the width. So yeah, there we go. I do not have an A6 here, but an A6 is even smaller. So A is smaller than B. Always remember that. A is smaller than B, but then the larger the number, the smaller it is. So an A6 is going to be smaller than a B6. The A6 dimensions are 4.13 by 5.83. So it is also smaller than a mini Happy Planner. So those are the general ones. There's two more I'm going to chat about real quick, and then we will move on to talk about paper. This is a traveler size notebook. I did not write the dimensions of this one, guys. I mean, I can just go ahead and measure this for you. Let's pull out the ruler. Okay, so this one is 8. And we'll do the paper. Almost 4.5. It's just under 4.5. So 8 by 4.5-ish is the traveler size notebook. Traveler size is very, very popular in notebooks, planners, and everything pretty much in between. And then this is a week's size planner or notebook. Now this is in a plastic cover. So again, the cover is going to be a little bit bigger, but it is clear. So hopefully that can help. I'm going to try to actually line up what's under the cover to it. So that way you can kind of see the dimensions there. So we said it was 8 in length for the traveler's notebook. This is like 7.4 something. So a little more than a 1/2 inch shorter. And then the width is 3 point maybe 6. Compared to, I forgot what the other one was. But yeah, that kind of give you a general idea of that. So those are the differences between a traveler's notebook or a TN and a week's. So you can also compare the week's to a junior, a lot smaller. All right, so I think that's it for the sizes. I do have disc, but I don't know that I'm gonna pull them out because when you come to disc sizes, you have the expander disc, the classic size disc, and the mini disc. These are classic size disc here. These are mini discs, and your expander discs are a little bit bigger than that. I don't have the dimensions off the top of my head, but those are kind of your general disc sizes. However, the reason why I'm not gonna like necessarily focus too much on those is because, you know, Happy Planner has a lot of discs. Expander disc you always have to buy separately, but a lot of other companies also make discs. Tool makes discs, Jane's Agenda makes discs. A lot of people make discs. A lot of companies make discs, or they provide discs with their planners. And once you get beyond the classic size disc, the sizes do change. So like an expander disc for Happy Planner is going to be different than your other ones. So definitely just pay attention to the dimensions for that. Now we're going to talk about something that is confusing, and that's going to be paper quality. It's very, very confusing because some companies will refer to pounds when they talk about their paper quality. This is the pound of paper that it is. It is 80 pounds. And then some companies will say my paper is 160 GSM. Now, I did Google this, so I know the conversion. I will say it, but then we'll like figure some of it out. You take the pounds that the paper is and you multiply it by 1.48 and you get the GSM. Don't know how accurate that is, but that's what Google tells me. So we're just going to go with it. All right. So we'll start with Happy Planner paper. Happy Planner paper. So Happy Planner is your more economical planner. One of your more economical planners out there. You can buy it like at mass retailers. Those are typically going to be your more economical options. With that said, the cheaper the planner, especially if it's a mass market type planner, it's usually going to have lower, I don't want to say quality paper, but the pounds and the GSMs are going to be lower. So it's going to be thinner paper than a lot of your boutique planner companies or your more luxury planner companies, or let's just face it, your more expensive planners are going to have higher pound paper or higher GSM. So it's going to be thicker. Happy Planner, now I've never actually seen where they have said the pound paper that they use, but people say that Happy Planner uses 32 pound paper. I would say it's probably either 28 or 32 because sometimes it feels a little bit different. Like sometimes the notebooks feel different than the planner. I don't know, that just might be, you know, in my head, but people estimate that it's a 32 pound paper. For comparison purposes, regular printer paper is usually 20 pounds. You can look on Amazon just to see the price difference when it comes to different paper. So you can look at 20-pound paper, like a ream of 20-pound paper, and compare that to 28-pound to 32-pound, and you can see how the price increases. And the pounds is how much that a ream of paper, a ream of 500 pieces of paper weighs. That's where the pounds come from. All right, so Happy Planner uses, we'll just guesstimate 32-pound paper, which is, I mean, it's decent paper. It's fine paper. I have 32-pound paper that I purchased off of Amazon to print my own inserts. It's perfectly fine. It does bleed a little bit. So when I'm talking about paper and we're talking about pounds and GSM, if you are new to planning, when it really becomes important is if you're going to be using different types of mixed media in your planner. If you're going to be using ink and stamps, let's say, Happy Planner paper does not do very well with stamping. I've done it, it bleeds through. With that said, I mean, it bleeds through, but it doesn't come through on like the page behind it. So you can just see pretty much what you stamped. You can kind of see it through on the other side. However, with that said, I can still take ink and just handwrite over it, and it kind of camouflages it a little bit on the other side. Just depends on how much of a perfectionist you are. Also, if you want to use markers or brush pens or acrylic markers or fountain pens, then the pound paper or the texture of the paper is probably going to play a role. If you're just going to be using a regular pen to paper and using like stickers and washi, it really isn't going to matter. But you will hear a lot of people talk about paper because they do like to use different forms of mixed media in their planners, and the paper is pretty important. I have now become someone who does look for higher quality paper because I do like the option sometimes to stamp or to use like my brush pens in my planner. So Happy Planner, 32-pound paper. If we want to do a quick, if Google is correct, we can do 32 times 1.48, and that is going to be pretty darn close to 47 GSMs. Now I don't really know what GSMs mean because I'll tell you in a minute. There are some GSMs that has completely different paper than this. So obviously the GSMs tell you a lot if the paper is made very similarly, like whether or not it's slick, whether or not it's smooth, whatever. Then I think that's when you can kind of compare close to apples. But if it's a different paper texture or something like that, then it's kind of hard to compare. So from there, we're going to chat about there are a couple companies that use 80-pound paper, and I will say the 80-pound that they say is going to also be a little bit different. So I think Hemlock and Oak uses 80-pound paper, which again, I can like look up the GSM here, which is 118 GSM, but 80-pound paper, I believe Hemlock and Oak uses. Erin Condren, I believe, also uses 80-pound paper. Erin Condren uses a completely different paper than most other people. People love Erin Condren paper. I've already done a pen test. You can see it didn't fare as well as I thought it would. But this is 80-pound paper. It is thick, okay? I can tell that it is thick. It feels, to the touch, thicker than Happy Planner. However, with the pen test, it didn't really prove that. But even with the numbers, it's thicker than Happy Planner. However, this is a very gritty feel to the paper, whereas Happy Planner is smooth. This is a very gritty feel. I hear people say that it's toothy. So it's going to grip the ink a little bit better, which I'm guessing means that it's not going to like smear or smudge as much either. So people really enjoy writing on this particular type of paper. Erin Condren, I believe, is the only one that uses it. This is Mohawk paper. I've never used an Erin Condren before, so I will find out how much I like it in 2025 when I'm using it for my fitness and wellness planning. But yeah, so that's that. We'll do a pen test momentarily because the other one that I'm going to chat about is 90-pound paper. Now, I did not look up Live Love Posh, which I should have, especially considering I'm an affiliate for them. But Live Love Posh is at least 90 pounds. I know Calva planners are 90-pound paper. Live Love Posh is probably somewhere close to 90 pounds, if not a little bit heavier. what did I do with the paper? Oh, here it is. It's off to the side. Okay. So this is Live Love Posh paper. It's very, very thick. Hell of a Plan, like I said, is 90-pound paper. So if we want to look at 90 times 1.48, that's 133 GSM. So that's pretty high GSM. Go Get a Girl uses 125 GSM. So definitely between like Hemlock and Oak 80 and Hell of a Plan 90. But like I said, Live Love Posh either uses 90 or 100-pound paper. Not 100% sure, but it doesn't matter because once you reach those high levels, it's thick. Let's just tell you that. So for the paper test, I have this notebook, which you saw. I did a pen test, not a paper test, pen test. I didn't test like, where is it at? There we go. I didn't test a whole bunch of stuff. I just test dot pens. That first dot, I went, on. We'll do it again. We'll do it again so you can see what I mean. I went like that. You're not going to do that. Or don't do that if you're using dot markers. When you use dot markers, you just do boom, 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 boom. You like literally just touch it. So yeah, that is the Erin Condren. So what I did was I used a dot marker. This is Shuttle Art Dot. I used a black click art, zebra click art, which is a little bit thicker, and I definitely wanted to use the black. And then I used a Tombow 757. Tombos don't go through anything. So we just want to test that theory. I could probably actually pull a zebra. I just want to see something. Oh, that's not that dark. All right. So yeah, when you flip it over, actually that's the dots. Okay. So yeah, the brush pens did not go through. So the zebra is there. The Tombow is up there. You can see this is the click art, and then these are the dots. So the dot that I pressed down way longer than anybody should in any type of planner was there. All the other ones you can kind of see. There's a little bit of shadowing, but it definitely didn't bleed through. Happy Planner was here. You can see it's pretty much the same. I can actually do this one a little bit better. You can see it's pretty close. It looks like it might be darker on the Erin Condren. I don't know if that has to do with the color paper or how it grips the ink. It might be because of how it grips the ink. I don't know. But it definitely looks like it bled through a little bit more on the Erin Condren, y'all. But then the Erin Condren may have fared better with the click art. Go figure. So I can see it a little bit here where it's almost actually bleeding through at the points where my pen like starts and ends. You know, like when you start and end, it kind of, like when you do the H, the top and the bottom. Yeah, like right at the bottom, it looks like it's getting ready to bleed through where those little dots are. But the rest of it's fine, just a little shadowing. This is just shadowing. There's no bleed. It looks like the click art did better on this paper than this paper. Yeah, I think that's it. This one you can't see at all. So, of course, the Tombow was perfection, as always. I love some Tombows. I do buy some knockoff Tombows, and they do pretty well, too. So, we can do that. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. And then we bring Live Love Posh into the mix. And look, y'all, I did it over here, too. And look, not even the dots bled through on this paper. And not even the, like, there's no shadowing, no ghosting, no nothing. I'm going to make it bleed through. We're going to do 1001, 1002. That was a fast. That bled through. Would you ever hold it that long? Please don't. Please don't. It's going to bleed through probably on 160 GSM. But like if I do that, I just want to show you that I was doing it. It doesn't. That's the one I held longer. All the other ones are over here. It did not bleed through or anything. So again, that is when pounds come into play. I'm not sure about this Erin Condren paper. Like I said, it's not super thick. I can definitely tell the thickness of this versus this. But I'm not sure if it's a texture or what that makes it bleed through. I'm just not familiar with it as much, but you can tell the bleed is very similar to the Happy Planner when it comes to Erin Condren. But your Live Love Posh was pretty much perfection. Because like I said, ignore that because you're never going to hold a dot pen down for 2 seconds unless you're distracted, right? And like I said, I need to look and see if they put the GSMs or the pounds on there, and I'll let you guys know down in the description box. But like I said, I'm thinking it's at least 90, if not a little bit more. A lot of your journals are now up to par with like Archer and Olive paper, which is 160 GSM, and 160 GSM is about 108 pounds of paper. So that is very, very high quality paper. It's going to be higher quality than the planner, but it's also going to be, it's not going to be necessarily bleed proof. I don't want to give that impression, but I can stamp in it. I can use a lot of markers in it and it does not bleed. However, if I do stamp with a lot of pressure using black ink, sometimes I can see a little bit on the back. So again, it's not perfect, but it is pretty much some of the highest quality paper you can get is that 160 GSM. And that is, you're going to see that a lot more when it comes to a bullet journaling, especially like Archer and Olive. The last paper actually is this. I think I might have said Archer and Olive was the last, but it's this. This is Tomoe River paper. You will hear about Tomoe River paper because people absolutely love Tomoe River paper. This is when I said the GSM get confusing, because if you kind of convert 32-pound paper, which we're thinking is the Happy Planner pounds, to GSM, what did I say? We get like 48 or something like that. I already forgot it already, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. My brain just does not work very well. 47 pounds is what we're saying that Happy Planner is, right? This is 52 pounds, a lot thinner. So again, I think it's also like the brand, just like Erin Condren's 80-pound is Mohawk paper. And I think that the 80-pound is going to be thinner than like another 80-pound that uses a different, like more smooth paper. But this is 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. But I'm not even going to get into the Tomoe River paper debate about the new manufacturer and how it's a little bit less quality than previous years, because this is my first time with Tomoe River paper. This, I believe, is a 2024 notebook, so it probably does have the better paper. But I did a pen test on my own. So there we go. There we go, smeared click art. I used some zebras, some Tombos. A lot of these are either fine liners or the Papermate flares. And then I used some microns. And I used some regular just gel pens at the top. And that's how it comes through on Tomoe River paper, at least this particular batch of Tomoe River paper. So you can see the click art. Just don't use it on this. You probably shouldn't really use that in very many of your planners. Papermate flares actually did okay. Yes, you can see through it, but this is so thin. What people love about this is it's crinkly, so they like the feel and the sound of the crinkle. It apparently works really well with fountain pens. I just don't know anything about fountain pens to either confirm or deny. I will say, just with my random unofficial pen test, the microns did pretty well as far as when you feel the back. The gel pens, you can like feel it. It's raised. The microns is not. And of course your felt tip, you're not going to find it. But the microns did really well. So I think I'm going to probably use microns in this particular. I have a planner that I'm going to be using. This is just a notebook. So I'll probably end up using the microns as my pen of choice when I'm writing in it, because it doesn't bleed through as much as I thought. It does not bleed through any more than regular pens, but the regular pens kind of raise the paper. So yeah, that's the 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. Like I said, so I don't really know. Like I said, the GSMs, pounds and stuff, it should be the higher the number, the thicker it is. But like I said, in some instances, I guess the actual texture or the manufacturer, it's a little bit different altogether, which just adds to the confusion. All right, I think that's the gist of it. I'm going to quickly chat about a few of the layouts, but I'm not going to go through all of the planner layouts because there's just a lot. And this is not a happy planner video. It's just that when I first started planning, in like decorative planning specifically, because prior to decorative planning, I was an at a glance planner user, or like the ones you just go to like Target or Walmart and just pick up on the planner aisle. When I got into decorative planning, that's when I got into Happy Planner. So I have a lot more planner layouts for Happy Planner than other planners. Yeah, but this is not a Happy Planner video, so I'm not going to show you every single Happy Planner layout, because Happy Planner has a lot of unique layouts. What I'm going to cover here is just some things to keep in mind when looking at planners. The first thing is vertical layouts. Vertical layouts are extremely popular layouts, right? A lot of planner companies, almost all your planner companies will have a vertical layout option. Even if the planner itself is the same exact size. So even if you are looking at several 7x9 planners, if it's a vertical layout, the boxes, the columns, everything else could be different sizes, okay? Just want to mention that. Just because it's the same size paper does not mean, and it's a vertical layout, does not mean all of the dimensions of the columns and the rows are going to be the same. The reason why I bring that up is because a lot of people get upset because like Happy Planner boxes, if you buy a Happy Planner sticker book that has boxes in it, try to find a vertical box, like boxes in it. These boxes are made for the Happy Planner. Mojo Jojo, her stickers are based on Happy Planner dimensions and to fit the Happy Planner layouts. I believe Live Love Posh, Calva Plan, Amber Plans Her Day. A lot of the ones, you know, you kind of hear about, those are going to use dimensions for their stickers, especially like their functional stickers, to fit in a Happy Planner. However, the vertical boxes, because the columns and rows could differ by planner type, is not going to be the same in an Erin Condren or on a plum paper, or obviously not a passion planner or anything like that. That's the moral of the story. It's just like, if you really want to make sure your boxes fit perfectly, you need to buy stickers that are designed for that particular planner brand. That's the only way it's gonna fit to a T. I personally don't care, because if I have a box sticker like this, I'm not gonna fit it perfectly in that box. I'm gonna like fit it right here or fit it a little off. I just like the way that looks a little better. So you can always do that, guys. But a lot of your planner sticker kits from small shops, when you get like weekly kits, those, I believe most of those are intended more for an Erin Condren. They now do, a lot of them do specify what type of planner it is intended for. But you know, Erin Condren planners, a lot of people use kits, so that's where the popularity of the kits come from, and that's why a lot of the kits do fit a lot of your Erin Condren sizes when it comes to the columns and things like that, and the boxes and the vertical. But there are Happy Planner kits now that some small shops offer. So that is your vertical. The other one I kind of want to touch on is a dashboard, because a lot of planner companies are now offering the dashboard. Not as many, but there are some. Calva Plan has a dashboard. Let me show you. See? Very, very similar. So the dashboard has the days of the week over here. So you have like one page glance of your whole week, and then you have another page over here that is your dashboard. I think that's where the name dashboard comes from, is because you have this dashboard page over here. It's a Happy Planner. They have it all planned out for you with checklists and things like that. Calva Plan provides you with a blank piece of paper to kind of do as you will with their dashboard page. There are other planner companies that have like a dashboard similar type layout, but they're not going to call it a dashboard. I don't have a, like, I know Live Love Posh has one where you have a weekly view over here. It's more of like a horizontal looking, but it's all on one page. And then you have like a dashboard over here where you can do like, you know, to-dos and stuff like that. I don't have a copy of that to show you guys, but that's the dashboard. But like I said, planner companies are going to differ on that. This is not as widespread among a lot of your mass market planner companies that you would think. The other one that's pretty popular is a horizontal. I'm going to probably bring this up because Happy Planner changed their horizontal. This is a spring release. They changed their horizontal as part of their fall release. Don't know what they're going to do for the winter release. And I think it's just called a horizontal, maybe not, but it has a checklist over here. So that kind of brings me to one of the main points that I want to bring when talking about planner layouts is, don't just assume by the name that it's gonna look the same even with the same brand. So like if this said if the new checklist one is just titled horizontal, it doesn't look the same as this horizontal. So you almost need to do your research before you actually pick up the planner. If it's online, definitely check the website, click through the images to see what the layout really does look like. If you go into the store, a lot of times like your happy planners are going to be like the big heavy plastic pieces there, but you can like thumb through it. Just double check just to make sure you are getting what you think you are getting and not getting one that has checklists over here, which you may prefer. But yeah, the horizontals are generally pretty much the same. Whether or not you have a blank row here or a blank row up here could change. Sometimes some planner companies will give you a larger note space because they will go ahead and divide up the Saturday and Sunday. There are also some planner companies that like do a different take on the horizontal. I know Erin Condren has, it's like a student type, an academic layout. And it's kind of a horizontal, but it has that checklist in there. And then the vertical is also the same way because Happy Planner has multiple layouts that play on the vertical. So it's like the checklist has, the middle box has checklist in it. And then like the stress management is a play on the vertical. So you have that. The other thing I kind of want to mention about Happy Planner to keep in mind, yes, this is not a Happy Planner video, but I know Happy Planner is just widely available to a lot of people. So it's very, very popular. As Happy Planner loves shading. Love shading. I think there's even a shaded, look, love shading. If it's not colorful shading, it might be gray shading. So again, that's why it's very, very important to kind of either thumb through it when you have it in your hand before you make the purchase, or look at it online before purchasing it. Because if you're someone that does not like shading or can do with shading but don't want colorful shading, you want to make sure you know what you're buying before you buy it. By the way, this is a color block layout. This comes out typically with the academic release. So kind of like almost summer release. This comes out with the teacher layout, which this is very, very similar to a teacher layout. This has like 6 rows with the colorful color blocks in between to distinguish the different rows. But here's the teacher layout, and I do need to talk about the teacher layout, so I'm glad I showed you guys that shading because I probably would have forgot. But here's the teacher layout. The teacher layout is also a very popular layout across multiple planner companies. There are teacher layouts with Plum Paper, Erin Condren, Calva Plan. I'm probably not even thinking of half of them, but it's a very, very popular layout. Again, this is Happy Planner. The way Happy Planner does it is they date it over here on the left-hand column. So that way each row is for a specific day of the week. Because it is a teacher planner, it is intended for teachers. So therefore they only need 5 days because they work Monday through Friday. And then there's 7 columns for the 7 subject areas. This planner layout has become very popular for non-teachers. I, for one, absolutely love it. It will not be in my lineup in 2025, but it has been in my lineup for the past 2.5 years. It's just super functional because what I do is I hide all of this. You can hide it with stickers, box stickers, or white label paper, or you could just leave it and just ignore it. But what a lot of people do is hide it. They label these for specific rows, like specific categories. So like home, work, or if you have multiple kids, you might put a kid name here, kid name here, kid name here. That way you can track all of their whereabouts and like appointments and things like that. Or like for social media, I have like YouTube, Instagram, stuff like that. And then you redate it across the top. A lot of teacher layouts also do this where it's basically just for 5 days. However, some do not. So Calva Plan, hers is dated across the top. Saturday and Sunday is not a full row, but you can make it. I think it's like a notes box here because you don't have room over here for the sidebar. So they have like a notes box. So your Saturday and Sunday is kind of cut in half, but it's fine. You can always just extend it if you want. So Calva Plan does date it across the top. And Erin Condren they created a vertical teacher layout. So they still have a regular teacher layout that looks similar to this, but the vertical one is dated across the top as well. So again, teacher layouts are popular across multiple planner brands, but just double check. Most of them are going to have the dates across the side, so you have to redate it to make it 7. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, because that was a lot. I mainly wanted to cover the sizes and the paper questions because those can be kind of confusing when you hear about it. And then we did some pen tests to kind of see the different types of paper. I didn't do a pen test in my Archer and Olive. I've done plenty of pen tests in there before. I have a swatch book, so let's just do a pen test in there because why not? Let's see. 1001, 1002, and then we'll do boom, boom, boom. Okay, so the 1002 still goes through, but definitely not as bad as all the other ones. It literally more shadows than bleeds through. All the other ones bleed through, but you can see no shadowing at all. No hint that there's a dot anywhere else. Again, you are not going to hold a marker in for like, I really count it really fast. So a second and a half, we'll say, for that. So that's, I wanted to make it bleed through. But I mean, this is heavier than the Live Love Posh, so we already know it's not going to bleed through, but we'll just do it anyway. Nope. And let's just do, let's color. That also did not bleed through, and I colored a box. So just when you put a lot of ink, because you're using a lot of ink to press down, so you're putting ink into the page, that's why it bleeds through. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of a waste because we know 160 GSM is going to be pretty fantabulous. All right, guys, so that is today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Even if you're not a newbie, hopefully just kind of going through like GSMs and paper stuff gave you a little bit of information that you may have not known. Like I said, I had to study up on Google to figure out some of this stuff. So I learned something new as well. If you enjoyed this video, please press that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you will consider subscribing because these are all my planners. And I'm going to be using these planners throughout the coming year. So you're going to be seeing me like utilize a whole bunch of different planners. And what's more fun than that, right? So yeah, hit that subscribe button. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time. Bye.